Users of Reddit, you're dating a girl and you really like her and then you find out she has Onlyfans. How do you react? You could have paid for dinner this whole time? Someone's asking the real question. That's the real question. This guy has his priorities in order. Anyone who doesn't have a problem with ESO having an Onlyfans is freaking bizarre. I'm a millennial and this is one of those things that make me draw a big freaking line with being open-minded or confident, and I will proudly say no. Frick off with your Gen Z stuff. If this is offensive, then take it as new age stuff. It's one of those things that make me feel like a boomer stereotype, but I stand by it. This open-mindedness, you're just insecure. Like no, it's just pathetic and weird, and there's no wonder modern relationships have a freaking strain on them. Cheating is more prevalent, etc. It's because people want to turn a relationship into something else. Look how confident and open I am. So accepting of this type of relationship. No, it's virtue signaling to comfort you about your dead idea of love. Someone else said politely, it's not for me. People do what they want, but I wouldn't. No offense, not me. I mean full offense. Girls, guys, do what you want with or whatever. But when it comes to a relationship, you are not speaking for what I call a relationship. That stuff is something else. Check out her page to see if she posted us having intercourse, then sue for copyright infringement. In California at least, I'm pretty sure that would fall under revenge tapes and is a very serious criminal offense. She'd be facing prison time. Invasion of privacy. Apparently the revenge tapes statute is about content that was created consensually but shared without consent. Invasion of privacy covers non-consensual recording. That's just the tip of the iceberg. There are laws called 18 U.S.C. 2257 record keeping requirements compliance statement that means that the guy in the content would also have needed to submit age verification documents even if the person was of legal age. Just having to go through the trouble of presenting all the info and paying lawyer fees adds up quick. Onlyfans does seem to be at least somewhat thorough about this. One person I followed had trouble multiple times providing documentation and releases for videos of her and her ex, despite them having deliberately produced those videos for sale. I'd personally move on. People are entitled to do what they please, of course, it's just not for me. No hard feelings. Second this, moving on while respecting what they do. However, my reasoning would be that if they're actually popular on OnlyFans, then a large amount of time is spent talking, performing, and recording for those fans. It takes a lot of their attention away from you as a significant other and continuous, but unintentional, neglect isn't something many people enjoy in a relationship. This was a common answer in previous threads of people who did date OnlyFans. They are constantly on their phones telling strangers they want to suck their sausage or whatever. To be successful, they need to constantly be selling this. People should be allowed to say yes, no to these things if they wish. Nobody is forced to accept it. Yes, if we are in a relationship and I love you, then for me our bodies are sacred to our relationship. I don't want me and you to be sexualized by other men/women. It's our private place to be vulnerable and close, not something you sell for money. Just my opinion. I respect everyone else's too. Be fine with it and then ruin the relationship later due to self-sabotaging tendencies and low self-esteem. Might save time to just not be fine with it. Speaking from experience, you're right, I wasn't okay with it, but tried so hard to be because I believed I should be okay with it, that I didn't even realize how not okay with it I was till after the fact. Just skip all that and admit that your emotions are important and valid, especially in matters of the heart, and express your discomfort genuinely. It's not the nudes that bother me, it's the weird of selling subs a girlfriend experience. Find it very sad. Creepy to chat up your subs with fake affection. I mean, who are the kind of people to pay for this delusion? Probably very insecure, desperate people, some poor sap dropping thousands a year to feel some modicum of affection. Just feels creepy knowing this and then taking that money. I don't know how to date someone while they're playing house with who knows how many delusional people. You described my main problem with OnlyFans. Naturally the guys, and no doubt gals, who subscribe to OnlyFans models are free to do whatever the frick they want with their money. And conversely, OnlyFans models are entirely free to take their money. But I can't help but feel there's a hidden epidemic of guys with serious problems who are trying to use OnlyFans as a way to remedy their problems but won't ever be able to, while also bleeding a lot of money which could further harm their situation. And on the flip side, these women are, likely unknowingly, enabling their behavior by stringing them along and exploiting their situation. I don't quite know what the solution to this problem would be, though. Banning OnlyFans style content wouldn't be it, and it would only hide away the symptom, not solve the problem, while also telling women as a whole they're not allowed to sell imagery of their bodies. It's this weird parasocial relationship I find creepy. Same with Twitch streamers. These people need therapy and the chance to find something real. Yeah, like that's the dead breaker. If she's giving anyone, be it on OnlyFans or anywhere else, a girlfriend experience, then we are done, because that is literally cheating. So I had the opposite happen. Dated a girl for like 6 months, she was in college, so was I at the time, and asked me if I was okay with her making an OnlyFans to help get some money while she was looking for another job. My words were, I don't care as long as it's only online. Don't do anything that would endanger yourself, and don't let it take over your life as you're in college/we're together. Now I said this as I've seen from other people that sometimes people just jump full into it and they don't give a crap about the rest of their life. Can you guess what happened? Now she nor I am no adult stars. I'm a chubby guy, and she was as well, which I know is some people's thing. She went from just posting random pics, videos to stop going to college. I support that as long as you have a plan that helps support yourself. And after dropping out, probably failed, she had to work at the fast food place down the hill and do OnlyFans. Background: her parents were very rich and would have covered all of her schooling and rent and expenses until she graduated, as they did with their other kids. She legit just needed 2 more years of putting up with a little BS, considering she was hours away from the family. In the end, I broke up with her since all she cared about was her adult career, which I was okay with until it was the only thing she gave crap about, including not spending time with me or any of her friends. I don't give a dang as long as you don't let it consume your life, especially if you aren't making that much money to warrant it. Don't let ruin relationships, just friends or partners, over any job if you care about that person's. She's a chubby girl, can I get her number? I'm a bi woman, it'd be a no for me. I wouldn't like a partner interacting with other people sexually in this context or fake romantically. That isn't an unreasonable boundary. I'd worry about whatever issues her career might entail. Burnout on sex and emotional intimacy, crazy subscribers, doxing, etc. Platforms like OnlyFans have a lot of ethical issues with trafficking, CSA, insufficient verifications, etc. again, so it's not something I'd feel comfortable in supporting. I don't believe in making sex into a commodity. It indicates incompatible views about sexuality, which is an important standard for me. Overall, just isn't what I'm looking for in a relationship, and there are plenty of fish in the sea. Thank you. I don't know why everyone else is so uncomfortable about acknowledging that there are legitimate reasons a partner might not be okay with this. Because people think the only reason would be body shaming, which isn't where I'm coming from. Also, some people measure coolness by openness to anything and everything sexual, when in reality everyone has their own boundaries and preferences that have nothing to do with anybody else. As a very private person, I'd have a hard time with this. If she didn't show her face and it was very good money, I'd still have to think about it. Yeah, the face part is pretty important, I think, for a multitude of reasons. Personally, I wouldn't date anyone who is uploading lots of videos on the interwebs. Doesn't matter if it's TikTok, YouTube, Onlyfans, or he's an actor. Too much attention. I see that perspective as well. For me, I would really have to know all sides of the situation. I very rarely make determinations on hypotheticals because there is so much information in a real situation that can't be covered in hypothetical. I take everything on a case-by-case basis. I agree with you. I'm a private type of person, and I'd like my wife, GF to respect that. I'm not into putting my whole life story on the interweb. I feel like it's nobody's business what restaurants I like to eat at or where I take my kids for leisure on the weekend. You never know who is looking and what you could be potentially setting yourself up for. Talk about it like a reasonable adult. Why does she have an OnlyFans? Is it as a side gig or a main gig? Is she satisfying some sort of fetish? Stuff like that? Then what kind of content she makes? I've heard about a lot of different types. One was pretty much just cleaning in lingerie, which doesn't seem bad to me. Whether she'd give it up, we ended up in a relationship. Stuff like that. Once we've figured out the details, I'd make a decision. Never again. I've been in 4 relationships with OnlyFans girls and they are consistently on their phones all day and night. From what I've learned is you need to set boundaries and dedicate time for a relationship. Brother, how do you find yourself in those circumstances 4 times? The app is only a few years old. Just had this conversation the other day. I respect your decision and right to do with your body and images however you like. I ask that you respect my decision to prefer not to date someone that has an OnlyFans. At the end of the day, I don't care what you do or don't do, just ask you feel the same in return when it comes to respecting my preferences. It's almost like you're an adult who's capable of talking about how you feel. Jokes aside, good on you for saying how you feel without demeaning the other person. At the end of the day, you do care what they do or don't do because that directly affects your relationship. If they do OnlyFans, you will break up. If they don't, you won't. I just ask that you be honest with your feelings. This isn't a bad thing. It would actually be a bad thing if the other person cannot accept your feelings in the relationship. But don't lie to yourself saying you don't care what they do or don't do. Lol, that's what you told someone. Honestly, are you a computer? Now what a way to have that conversation. As many of you have pointed out, it may seem as if I am attacking S-workers. I am not. I do not feel any resentment or view S-work as immoral. I do not have an issue with anyone who is a S-worker or who views sexual content. My issue is with those who abuse that system to manipulate and harm S-workers. A system that allows for some to profit while others are exploited against their will. I think I've tried to answer many comments about the flaws in my original comment. Hopefully I was able to clarify better in the comments. It will most likely be a no from me. I feel my reasons are probably different than most here. I want to start by saying I do not care one bit as a man what a woman does with her body. It's not my place to have any say in that. My reasons for being against it are not because it would threaten my masculinity or make me feel inadequate. I am not going to say what I do for a living, but I will say I hold a professional certification in conducting human trafficking investigations. In this modern era, a lot of my work is done with data. Evidence from Onlyfans. This is why it would be a no from me. I've seen terrible things that stem from sexual exploitation. I could not support someone who engages with a system where I know there are many unwilling participants. I often view cam shows, Onlyfans, and the like as white-collar sex trafficking. Not everyone who posts on these platforms is consenting. Many are still manipulated, coerced via physical violence into producing content. Just look at Andrew Tate. He was routinely forcing women to exploit themselves via OnlyFans for his benefit. Obviously, this is largely a failure as society at large. We failed to provide the protective measures in place to prevent such things. I'm not even sure how we go about doing that. I can say that as long as I know there are victims of this type of exploitation, I cannot endorse it. Just read some of these comments. Many men replying to this immediately see the potential to make themselves some money off this women's content. They also just view this hypothetical woman as a sexual object. Free nudes and some photos are things I keep seeing thrown around. They would fully allow her to be exploited in order to gain benefits even if it's just sex with them. It is predatory in nature. I can tell you firsthand that is exactly how much of it starts. Girl with OnlyFans meets a guy, he encourages her to continue making content, gains access to the funds it produces, and manipulates or uses coercion to get her to do things she is uncomfortable with. Or he uses the justification of producing content to get the woman to participate in his sexual fantasies that she is not comfortable with, that is no different than traditional prostitution or pimping. These predators completely remove any free will or control the woman initially had over it. That is not consent. It is in no way the woman's fault. She is not a worker or any other term of the such. It does not matter your gender. You can absolutely be a victim of sexual exploitation and trafficking. Until we have platforms or legal systems in place that protect the most vulnerable, I cannot condone it. I apologize if maybe something I said here came off as sexist or offensive. Naturally, after seeing a lot of this, it can be fairly raw for me. I also do not feel women are fragile, delicate flowers that need to be protected. A woman has a right to post whatever she wants to. I am not out here trying to be a white knight or anything of the like. We need measures that fight back against the predator, not the woman. We currently do not have those. Just read these comments. There are a lot of predators on here. Based on some of these disgusting comments, a handful of you might be getting to know me real well here soon. It depends on what the content is. The only way this would be a no from me would be as she was having sex with another person on her stream. It's no different to dating a stripper. Why do yourself out of a relationship with someone you like before you see how it goes? Actually even better than a stripper, cause she's not actually having any physical contact with anyone. Was engaged to an Onlyfans model for a bit about a year ago. She was previously a stripper and I preferred her doing Onlyfans to that. My experience. She told me about the Onlyfans the night we met and sent me a link. She also did some custom extended videos for me while we were dating, which was fun. The reality is the vast majority of models make very little money at it. She was in her early 30s and very attractive, but didn't have a lot of subscribers. She worked for a modeling company that helped her with promo and had an assistant to manage her social media and OnlyFans accounts. So guys were chatting with the assistant, not her. She was also rarely on her phone when we were out, as that was work to her. She occasionally did videos with other girls, which I was fine with. She was bisexual and was okay with me being her guy and having fun with her stripper friends. We broke up due to some pretty serious mental health and drug issues on her part, which may or may not have been related to her adult work. No rageets and would do it again along as I was her only guy. Advice I would give to other guys: if she has an account, she's probably going to tell you immediately, if not outright advertising it on her social media. The only girls I knew that kept it secret were in LTR or married. Most of the models just do it by themselves or as a couple. I did not know any that were doing it with random guys. Most models make very little money at it. Under $1,000 a month is typical, so don't expect her to be rolling in the dough. If OnlyFans is her entire career and no plans, education or training is going on to move on to a better life, I'd say get out. If not, and she is still attractive to you, figure out what other things she may be doing to make money. I knew a lot of women who worked at Live Jasmine in Budapest. They drank in a pub I ran. There were two types: those who dressed up and hid their real identities while they job hunted, studied or trained for something else, and those who did side work on escort sites or would do bajosny, literally go to Dubai and sell themselves. Let's just say I met a lot of confused and hurt boyfriends in that pub when one or another of the latter type decided to cut them loose for a few months on their back in the desert. Know what you are getting into and decide if you really can handle that kind of relationship. If not, spare yourself the nonsense and find someone you don't have to ask people on Reddit for advice about.